Good day, Grade 4 Eco Warriors, and welcome to your English lesson for today. Remember, our theme is Be an Eco Warrior. Let's begin the lesson with corrections for yesterday's activities. Please have your pencils ready to mark your work. So on page 3 of your work pack, you had to finish the listening and speaking activity, which says answer in your comprehension and summaries book questions and answers. So let's look at the first question. Number 1 says, what do you see in each picture above? And remember, the picture we are referring to is this picture on the screen. And your answer is, in picture 1, I see factories emitting smoke or gases into the atmosphere. In picture 2, I see cars and other vehicles emitting smoke. In picture 3, I see trees that have been destroyed. In picture 4, I see a dry place with cracks on the ground. It looks like a desert. Question 2 asks, what would happen if there were no more fuel? And your answer is, fuels have been used for many years to create fire and energy, as well as to power motor vehicles. Although fuels help us in many ways, there would be less pollution without it. The air would be much cleaner and people would live healthier lives. Question 3 asks, what would happen if we no longer had trees and plants? And your answer is, there would be no life on Earth because trees and plants produce most of the oxygen that humans and animals need to breathe and survive. Without trees and plants, the Earth would become drier and more prone to extreme drought. Living things would not be able to make shelter from harmful weathers. Trees and plants also help clean the air by absorbing harmful carbon dioxide gas from the atmosphere. Without trees and plants, we would also not have food. Therefore, we cannot survive without trees and plants. Question 4 asks, how do you feel when you look at the pictures? So there's no right or wrong answer here. You could have said things like sad or worried or concerned. Number 5. Which would you prefer? A world with no more fuel, or B, a world with no more plants and trees? And number 6 says that you need to list reasons for your choice. So this is an open-ended question. Any reasonable answers are accepted, and your teacher will check this answer when you return to school. Your next activity asked you to look at the meanings of these words in your dictionaries and write the meanings in your personal dictionary. So let's take a look at the meanings of each word below. Global, of or about the whole world. Fossil fuel, fuel such as coal or oil that was formed millions of years ago from the remains of animals or plants. Ecosystem, a system made up of the community of all living organisms and their physical environment. Tornadoes, violent storms with very strong winds that blow in circles. Warrior, a person who fights in battles. Conferences, large meetings where many people with the same job or interests come together to discuss their views. Then on page 4, you had to read the article below about fossil fuels, and then you had to answer the questions in your comprehension and summaries book, and you had to do the questions and answers. Let's take a look at the answers to these questions. Number 1, what are fossil fuels? And your answer is coal, oil, and natural gas are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are used to generate electricity for lighting, heating, electronic equipment, and machines. Number 2. What did Svante Arrhenius warn people about? And your answer is, he warned people that the earth would get warmer and warmer if they kept burning coal and oil. Question 3. List 4 things that people do with fossil fuels. And your answer is, people burn fossil fuels to cook their food, warm their homes in winter, travel, and work. Now let's begin with today's work. So on page 12 of your work pack, it says that you need to read the article below about greenhouse gases, and then you need to answer the questions in your comprehension and summaries book, and you need to do the questions and answers. So let's read this text together. It says, what is the greenhouse effect? Farmers and gardeners build greenhouses from glass or plastic to trap heat. A greenhouse keeps the air inside warm enough to grow plants all year round. When fossil fuels are burned, they release gases into the Earth's atmosphere. Rotting garbage also gives off gases. These gases form an invisible layer in the atmosphere that traps heat like the glass walls of a greenhouse. The more gases are released, the thicker the greenhouse wall becomes and the more heat that is trapped. The planet gets warmer. Trees and plants keep the planet cooler. If too many trees are cut down, we lose nature's warriors against global warming. So after you read this article, you will then answer the questions in your comprehension and summaries book that follows. And the questions continue onto page 13 of your work pack. Then you will find a section on language. In this section, you will be learning about similes and metaphors. Let's read over similes and metaphors together. A simile describes something by comparing it with something else, using the words like or as. For example, when I ask people to recycle their rubbish, it is like hitting a brick wall. They just don't listen. But a metaphor is when we call one thing by another name to describe what it is like, and we do not use like or as for a metaphor. For example, you are my sunshine. Then you will cut and paste the following examples of similes and metaphors in your language book after copying the notes above, and you will cut along the dotted lines. So if you go to page 15, you will find these notes on similes and metaphors, and you will cut these out and paste them flat into your language books. Let's take a look at examples of similes. Busy as a bee, sparkle like diamonds, hungry as a bear, flat as a pancake, hard as a rock. So as you can see, similes make use of the words like and as. Now let's take a look at some examples of metaphors. The sun was a gleaming pearl. So can you see? The sun is being compared to a gleaming pearl, but we do not use like or as to compare these two things. Next example, my baby brother is a cute little teddy bear. My sister's memory is a camera that remembers everything we see. The car seat is a fluffy cloud, and custard is happiness in a bowl. Then on page 17 of your workpack, you have an activity on similes and metaphors that you need to complete in your language books. You will do the questions and answers. And then you have reading to do. It says that you need to read this short story entitled Sally and the Limpet from your Oxford Reader. Refer to your workpack and Tuesday's English work to help guide you as to what you are required to do for today. This is the end of Tuesday's English video lesson grade 4. Till our next lesson, stay safe and goodbye.